Greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. I greet you in the words of a BB48. Um, Today is what is today? March 31st. 4:46 p.m. And I titled this "The Ability to Think and Suspend Your Emotions." Well, I want to talk about some things. I want to talk about us, as we always say, know thyself. I want to talk about a few things. I'm gonna write it down, so bear with me. Sometimes I say, I want to I don't want to take up all your time, but as I'm learning, because in knowing ourselves, see, we get to a point where we think that we are complete. We say, know thyself as if we are done. Now, I'm not going to debate people on that because some people know thyself, but you are in a constant state of learning thyself. And that's why we have to try to not cut ourselves off from learning. And what I really wanted to talk about was when I said suspending our emotions. And I know the lecturer in me is like, I keep saying but you're developing your thought. We are such an emotional people. And I always like to say, I want to start with the verses. And we look at music. And number one, I want to talk about ego. Ego and emotion are synonymous. They run together. When a person gets so much in their emotions, kick in the ego and logic and true rationalizing of things and understanding things are suspended. Because there was a brother and he said something that stuck with me. Brother Panic, he said the war is on the ego, and most people rationalize through their ego. And I always like to give reference points. And that's another thing we do. That's another thing the ego doesn't allow you to do, is share your reference points or share where you got something. Because we have a tendency to say, oh, that's such and such got that from me. Because we want to be the ones always with the shine. The ego makes you always want to be the shine. And a lot of times, in my knowledge and in my journey, when we look at a lot of these situations that happen through the media, I always like to say they are like experiments. And what happens I did a video a while back saying the monolithic media, where we have to have this one way where we feel, and I was talking about it in some of my other videos, one way where we feel like this is the definitive answer, especially when it's coming from an emotional standpoint. And I want to talk about like the verses. Remember I said emotion and ego are synonymous, they run together. And a lot of times, verses, let me see what I said, serves the ego. You see if it makes sense what I'm saying. The verses aspect serves the ego because it needs to be told who won or who was better. because a lot of people need their ego stroked. They need to be told they are one. That's why a lot of times people keep a lot of people that are, a lot of times people don't want anybody that's smarter than them or that they perceive smarter than them around. Because if you got people, that's why people keep yes men around. Because they constantly want their ego stroked. You have a lot of people that always live in the yesteryear, or what they are, or how bad they could be, because they always need their ego stroked. And sometimes we just have to see things from a non-emotional standpoint. That's why I say suspend your emotions. And when we're so emotional about something, we can't see straight. It makes sense what I'm saying? And like I said, okay, when we look at verses, I'm gonna go back to verses. Think about all of the music verses we've heard. And verses really is connected to the Willie Lynch. Because again, we want to get into the technicalities of things of, was it real or was it fake? Who wrote it? Who didn't write it? When we have to look at the methodology behind it to show us how we've been had. Make sense what I'm saying? So verses, as I said, is attached to the Willie Lynch. Go back and listen to it. It says what? We must pitch the old slave versus the young slave. Young slave versus the new slave. Always keep you in battle. When you listen to these new school conscious guys, always in battle. Always Kemet versus the Moors versus this. These people versus this. Pharaoh versus this. Because they constantly want to keep you engaged in ego. And it never helps the people. The people never walk away with a definitive understanding. Because it's just like politics. They're always trying to sway you to a side instead of teaching you how to think for yourself. How to come to your own conclusion. And we get so invested. So back to, like I said, with the music verses. Remember, a lot of times we couldn't even enjoy good music. Remember when they did Brandy and Monica? Because we still hold on to like little gripes from our childhood where people were saying, oh, Brandy is corny, she's this and that, Monica is this. We still going back to the 90s when they didn't like each other. Because we run off of chaotic energy all the time. We're always running off of Western energy that keeps us at each other's throat. Like this is what they told you in the Willie Lynch. Something that constantly keeps you at each other's throats. And we haven't deciphered how to, who's pulling the strings. And I wanted to share some of my thoughts on that. Number one, like I said, I think that we are sometimes like in knowing yourself, you have to become comfortable with yourself. It's not saying don't take pride, because usually, and it's not saying I don't care about things. Listen to what I'm saying carefully. It's not saying I don't care about my appearance, but a lot of times we'll pass up giving a message because our hair isn't the right place. Because we're more so in tune of how they program your mind. We're so more in tune to listen to a message if it comes from a handsome or quote unquote beautiful, whatever that is, fine, whatever that is, face. We're not really programmed because we've been taught to be visual with everything. This is why a lot of us can't pick, and we're still continuously to pick failed relationships. Because we're picking off of our emotions. And it's not saying you can't have a preference. That's fine. We're picking off of our ego. Because again, remember what I said? The ego needs to tell you did. The stroking of the ego is to tell you that you did good. You need to be told you did good. See, a lot of times that type is not for you. We say, I got a type. I'm picky. I got a type. It could. I'm not gonna say it's not for you. It could be, but for the most, we pick based off of what other people will think. We pick based off of what other people would think, how other people will perceive the type of mate we got. Where they think she fine, or where they think she ugly. Is she big? Is she small? I can't bring no big woman to the house. My family will make fun of. I can't bring no short guy to the house. My family, I come from a family full of tall men. I come from a family full of whatever. Because we're already given we already are given a preconceived notion of what is beautiful to us. That's why Hollywood continues to control the standard of beauty. Make sense what I'm saying? I have cerebral palsy. And these videos make me come more comfortable with saying that. Because a lot of times, out of the lower level of myself, I was always afraid to say I had cerebral palsy. But I'm becoming more comfortable because in my knowing thyself, I'm also starting to love myself. Notice I said starting. See, our ego always tell us that we can't have a weak moment. We always got to say we this. We all say you could be effed up inside, but the ego say, "Oh, I'm doing okay." It's okay. That's why I say, because I'm interested in healing. I've had a crazy past 2 years. I've had a crazy past 2 years. I've lost so many people. So a lot of times you have to be mentally intact. And so back to this picking of this mate. I don't have women issues. I adore the black woman's mind. And I know these new modern dudes say, oh, that's a simp. Because again, we got to pay attention to what's going on. They want to control the narrative of how people feel about black women. They don't want black men to come to the rescue and say, or you can't even give a woman a compliment. This is why these agents, these AOCs, these agents of chaos like Kevin Samuels and his little minions are starting to pop up. Because they always got to shape your opinion of how you feel about a situation. She's not of high value. She's of low value. He's of low value. They always telling you a value in a Western society to live up to their standard. They're not telling you to have your own value system. Make sense what I'm saying? So I was having a cool conversation with a sister that I respect much. And we were talking about dating. Okay. And it was a post. I'm going to see if I can kind of give you an analogy of what the post said. The post said, and I think the post was written by a brother, so it was even more cool. And it was giving instructions saying, yo, fellas, we are in charge of holding it down. And I'm paraphrasing a bit because I can't remember what it said verbatim. And it was just saying these sequential things that we need to get in order before we are out trying to date sisters. And what made me think, and she called it to the attention and said, the guy said, it is our, which means he claimed himself as a man, it's our responsibility to take care of our women. And Okay, that spawned her and I to have a conversation. And I think it was the guy who I don't really care for too much, TK Kirkland. But I gave an example of him. He was saying something that dudes shouldn't date unless they got like 20K in the bank or something, which I don't agree with. I believe you should have some bread and you shouldn't be struggling, which is what she posted, which is what she pointed out, that we don't know if we would put an amount on it, but we do feel like that you need to have yourself together financially, because like they'll say, money not everything, but it is. Money is not the root of what they say, money is the root of all evil, but it's also a source of happiness. So it is important. And okay, which prompted me to ask questions. We're still talking about standards, which prompted me to ask her a question. Because at the top of what we are shaping now in this modern way of thinking is finances at the top of, can you pay bills? What can you do for me financially? Hey, fair game. I'm not here to tell nobody how to govern themselves and what they should put in their order. But this is what I asked. I said, how come females always talk about financial stability first and never talk about mental stability first? See what I'm saying? Never talk about, nobody ever said, see, we say all of this physical stuff that's good for our ego. Oh, she got to have a small weight. And this, again, and I'm not going to keep running over and giving disclaimers, but I want to shape the picture of what I'm talking about. Again, I'm not attacking what a person likes, because the ego, when it hears something it's not ready to receive, it clams up. So it's, oh, I got the right to pick. You can't tell me, oh, well, what about what you do? All of these projection stuff that comes from ego. You get all off subject off of what it really was. Nobody ever said if you like slim women, that's fine. If you like big women, that's fine. If you like tall guys, whatever, that's your preference. But I always say we always want things that's good for the physical. You know, how good he lay that wood, you know, how good her whatever. All physical things. But yet we say we know ourselves and we ascending and all of these things. But what about what feeds the spirit? What about what feeds the mind? Where is that on people's list? You know what I'm saying? Where is that on people's list? Where is it on how does this guy or this female think? I don't want to say, let's just say logically. Let's just say, for the sake of the conversation, let's just say healthy. I'll put it like that. Because like I said, I understand Malcolm always said, make it plain. Can this person be counted on in hard times? Are they mentally tough when it's being attacked, or will they crumble? See, it's these little nuances that helps, keeps relationships going. And notice how far away from our way we are getting. Remember, we'll say stuff like, I remember back in the day, my grandparents, we had people that was married 20 years. Now we can't even be married 20. Now we can't even be in a relationship for 20 days. Because everything is so microwave, because it's all about the ego. It's all about the next fix. It's all about getting under the next person. It's always having somebody in your life. Always having somebody in your space. Always constantly need to be told, good job. And that doesn't mean you can't have encouragement. I do think encouragement is very healthy. But does mental toughness, does mental health ever come to the top? So, like I'm saying, suspending our emotions. For these last couple of days, that incident, and I really don't want to keep talking about it, but it really showed how a lot of people, adults, really thought immature. Because I talk about what I call a dichotomy or a mental dichotomy, a mental split, where our brain, you know, it doesn't think about stuff from the whole perspective because we always see things in situational views. So you'll get a person, example, you'll get a person like, yeah, get out, babe. She always want to come up and talk. But you'll get a person that will be so religious. First one, now, these things to me have to be a way. My practices is a lifestyle. It's how I govern myself on a daily basis. I'm not even going to get that disclaimer because we always have a tendency to say, I ain't perfect. We got to stop doing that. Sometimes we have to have confidence with ourselves and be confident in our journey and our walk because we are putting together a sequential order of functional behavior patterns. We can't keep apologizing for not being contradictions. We can't keep apologizing for being consistent. We can't keep apologizing because we're dependent and we deal with people with emotional or egotistical issues that prey on our consistency and dependability. We can't keep apologizing. We have to grow up. We have to grow up and grow and be proud of who we are and who we are turning into, as long as it's for the better. So you'll have these people that are religious and they could do the most anti-religious, anti-stuff every day. Not saying I'm judging the person because they drink, smoke, or whatever, but their word tells them they shouldn't do this. It's this dichotomy I'm talking about. They'll say we don't fool with worldly people, but all of their girlfriends or boyfriends are worldly. Not even on the same spiritual level, but we use words like equally yoked. We use words like equally yoked, we are one, a union. These are power words. These are words that shouldn't be taken lightly. So, a lot of times, and last time I'm making a point on this, but I want to just talk about how ego and emotion and that we have to get help for our issues that we may have had in relationships. Women that have dude issues where they just bitter with men or males. Dudes that just bitter with females or women. And what it is, they have been wronged, so they still haven't let it go. So when they see things that kind of trigger them, they're not even thinking about the person because they're in their emotion. It's about them. Because again, that's what the ego is. It's about you. So when we have somebody that said, because I'm like, again, we're constantly being shown images. Images are advertisements. Images are advertisements. So whatever image is being put out is being advertised to our minds. So we're in a constant state where we see people talk down on females, talk down. And like I said, with these modern guys, they are making sure there's a pattern that if you do stuff like smack a dude for saying something about your woman, you're a simp. Because she was a hoe. Hey, again, but I'm just getting to a point. She was a hoe. She did things in the past, but your religion tells you don't judge a person by their past. Where they say only God can judge. See, we got a bunch of conflicting ideologies that we just put together. It feels good because we constantly got a ping pong in situational views. So my point was, I'm not here to defend nobody. My point is, if you are a black male and you are in a union with a woman that's supposed to be taken serious on a marital level, it's not predicated on. That's why they say, like I said in my other video, they say things for better or worse, sickness and health, ups and downs. You can't protect her when you feel like it, or if she hasn't been faithful to you, that doesn't mean you can let somebody disrespect her. If he hasn't been faithful to you, that doesn't mean you don't deserve to protect him or look out for him. Y'all still in this union. That's why I keep saying, if you don't want to be there and you got to have all these issues, do what adults do, part ways, start over. But the ego make you want to hold on because you keep thinking of all this stuff, all of these things. Man, I don't want nobody else to have her. Man, I don't want nobody else to have him. Blah, 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 blah. This, that, and that. A bunch of stuff, again, that doesn't have nothing to do with your elevation. Or you getting just to a better point. So what I just was saying at the point, the basic advertisement we need to give to boys and girls is that when somebody tries and speaks down on your name, you defend your name at all costs. So we, again, because like I said, we deal in contradictions. So in dealing in these contradictions, you have these dudes that say females can't do what a man can do. Okay, she'll bust down. Okay, she ran through people. She got ran through. But he'll bust down too. He ran through just as many. Now, a dude say we don't want no females that's been ran through. But they done ran through some numbers and want somebody to take them. Because we're on a patriarchal Western way of thought. We don't think what's in the best interest for us or our growth from an African or a black level. Like I said, somebody will debate that. Because back to what I said in the beginning of the video, we always in that man versus woman. We didn't talk like things battle of the sexes, sibling rivalry. All these words that was given to you to make you be always at the opposition of your brother, your sister, your wife, your husband, your children. Always at opposition. We always at each other's throats. We can't even come together if children need to be protected from pedophiles. This is how broken and fragmented they got us in our thinking. We can't even think, does a child or does a woman need protection? Because we haven't healed ourselves. That's why I always say I'm healing. I don't come out like I'm this guru and this thing that just has put myself together. No, I'm a constant work. But I'm constantly working. I give one of my close brothers, he said, we have to learn to give ourselves praises. Tell ourselves when we're doing good. So I keep people like that around me. And I'm learning also, just like your type, in a relationship, you got to have a type of friends that you keep around you. You have to have a type of friends. Because we've been so broken in love, we can't think of saying I love you a lot of times without it always being sexual. Or we can't think of type outside of always, couple. Make sense what I'm saying? But you need a type of friends. Because I'm a different type of friend. So I have to have that same type. See, we got to start having complimentary friends. Your friend need to compliment you. You don't just need to have somebody because you done known them for years and y'all got some good memories. Memory nothing. When you lose a person, that's all you have left is memories, pictures, a couple of belongings that give you memories. You say, I remember that. Hold on, I'm gonna show you right now. It's usually here. 1 second. It's usually here. I can't find it. But I was gonna show you a picture. Oh, right here. Picture of my mom. This is old. This is probably the 90s. And I remember this being one of my childhood bedrooms. And I remember this. So therefore, I have that memory. And I'm saying memories are amazing. They give you that nostalgic feeling, that warm and fuzzy feeling. But we have to start doing things more intentional. We got to be able to start having some adult grown conversations. We have to start picking people around us intentional. Forget the warm, fuzzy, feel-good stuff. That stuff is temporary. Who in it with you for the long haul? Who got your back when it's 70 dudes against you or 70 females against you? Who got your back? If you're in your apartment today and next week you have nowhere to turn, where do you go? Do you have friends that you can go to? If you're hungry, who will let you in? And that's why we have to come down on our emotions. Because a lot of times, like with a lot of stuff like this, I can remember this is probably like the third heavy internet incident that really was dividing people. Okay, first we had Kanye when he said slavery was a choice. And people got all in their feelings about that off a person's opinion. Then it was Kobe Bryant, whether he deserved to be, certain things, people had their personal issues. And now the other day's incident, Sunday's incident, or whenever that was. And we let things divide us or come between, and we start getting split, and we start getting heated. We'll let stuff like this destroy friendships. Because we're in our ego. We want to be right. When it's all about perspective. When it's all about what would you do? So that's all I kind of wanted to say. I just kind of wanted to build a little bit and say, like I said, make every day. Oh, okay, I can dig it. It's true. They at least got to be attracted to me. Oh, so what this sister, and I hope she's still here. You still here, Sister Kiana Teal? She says, probably to a statement I made earlier, but she says, that's true. They gotta at least be attractive to me. My fine may be somebody else's ugly. True. True. It's all about discernment. You'll hear me say that a lot. It's all about what connects with you on a healthy level. Does this person continuously pour into you, or does this person drain you? Does this person start off pouring into you and then down the line start to drain you? It's about that balance. She said, I'm glad to hear praying for me. 100. Truth, mental illness is real out here. And see, even that word attractive, because it's like the sister said, my fine may be somebody else's ugly. What's attractive to me? Because here's the thing about us always wanting to have this. See, this is how this stuff gets you. We always want to say, oh man, I think she's fine. You don't think she's fine? Oh, you ain't got no taste. But guess what? If every dude like always the same woman, we fight anyway in the billion zone. We really be fighting now because we all trying to get this one. Because all of us are programmed on the same way of thinking that this look good. When it's a plethora of them out here. We can't get caught up in all of this. It's this one way to feel, one way to be. My right might not be your right. This one way. Oh, I wish the sister was still here, but yeah, I really appreciate her comments. Because I really would want to know, she says mental illness is real. I really would like to know with a sister, like, how does she, pick or view, where is mental health? And some of y'all females or people, just people that may see this video, kind of comment and help me out. Like, where do y'all see mental health on y'all? Is it like a necessity? Have you not even ever really gave it that much deep thought? Where is mental health on your we gotta have this, we gotta have that. Some people don't have that list, but it's like, well, she at least have to, you'll say a dude at least have to have a car, a job. I don't feel a person wrong for saying, well, you at least gotta have a job. You ain't gotta have a big job, you at least gotta have a source of taking care of yourself. I don't think nothing is wrong with saying that. Because again, we always try to tell somebody just definitively, without a shadow of a doubt, this is how you should run your life, or this is how you should feel about this, or this is how you shouldn't feel about this. So I appreciate the sister and her comments. Like I said, I really wish she was still here to comment with me. And really, I want to figure out how to bring people on and we can have like real conversations, because I love to have real good conversations. And like I said earlier with my hair, sometimes you got to give the message. If what I'm saying and all the person could think about was my hair, that means what I was saying wasn't on point or wasn't worth hearing. So they're like, oh, when you look at that, see, sometimes we focus on the wrong things. But I leave you how I greeted you, and that's my word. I just wanted to share that. It was some things that's on my heart. Like I said, I'm trying to do more videos and get better. Hit that like. You can even share it if you like. Hit me up with comments and let me know what you think about my stuff. Feedback is always good. I leave you how I greeted you. BB48, African Liberation for African People. Peace.